Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday, the 7th of January, 2025. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social, and I am Graham Hughes. Big shout out to everyone in the chat so far. We've got Billy in there, we've got Unquiet Badger, we've got Server, we've got 36 Skin Edge, we've got Leapshin, Reagan Elite. Hi, how you doing? We've got GD Bottle in there. And Band of Harp Jays and others. If you would like to join them in the chat, all you need to do, as always, just hit the subscribe button. Just wait for 30 seconds or so, and you'll be able to join them. So we're going to be talking about Justin Trudeau now, just in time for his resignation yesterday. So Justin Trudeau has resigned from his position as Canadian Prime Minister. Now, he's not resigning just like, yes, he's still going to do the job for another couple of months. There's a couple of problems, which I'll talk about now, and then we'll talk about his legacy. First of all, they've got to give 90 days as part of their, the rules in the Liberal Party. So the Liberals in Canada are kind of progressives, kind of centre-left, whereas the Liberals in Australia are super right. But they're both called the Liberals. So know your Liberals. The Liberals in Australia aren't. The Liberals in Canada arguably are. So they've got a 90-day time for submitting your request to be the new leader of the Liberal Party. And there's been a few names already thrown into the hat. Most notably Mark Carney, who was the governor for the Bank of England during the whole Brexit debacle. Someone who spoke quite eloquently about the dangers of Brexit, but didn't really have the riz. I don't know if he's got the riz. But the thing is, whoever now becomes the leader of the Liberal Party won't be Prime Minister because Parliament's going to be prorogued, so they're probably going to go straight into an election. So they won't be Prime Minister, and even if they were, there'll be a lame duck. But what's going to happen is that whoever becomes leader is basically going to be a sacrificial lamb because they're just going to be the leader in opposition. So they're going to be electing their own version of Kemi Badenoch, someone who's never actually going to probably lead the party into the next election. So let's talk about Justin Trudeau. And then Justin Trudeau has prorogued the Parliament in Canada, which is apparently something you can do in Canada. Which means there's going to be no parliamentary decisions taken on anything, no parliamentary debates till the end of March. Which I just find really weird. Like, I was complaining about the fact that it takes so long to get from the election to the actual inauguration in America with the presidential system they got there. But I mean, this is like mad. This is like, okay, so the government just shuts down for 2 months on the say-so of one guy? Does that seem a bit weird? But also, it means that a lot of the so I got distracted by my printer there. Shut up, printer. Truck. Scribble. A lot of the issues that Trudeau's grappling with at the moment. I mean, you could argue that the proroguing Parliament's like kind of very irresponsible right now, because what it means is that all bills that are currently going through the Canadian Parliament just stop. They just that's it. They just stop and go away. And any investigations, I guess, like a select committee research, it just stops. And some of it will be abandoned. Some of it might be picked up in the next session, but it might not be. So yeah, that's a bit irresponsible. But we saw this when dickhead, what's his name? Who's that idiot who was in charge of our country? Rishi Sunak. When Rishi Sunak called the election last May, and everyone was excited that he'd called this election because we wanted to shut the Tory party. But that it dissolves Parliament for 6 weeks. It's only for 6 weeks, not for like 2 months. And then you have an election afterwards, which is what they're going to do in Canada. Seems like a long time not to have anyone running the country, especially the Trump asteroid is hurtling towards the Earth at 78 million miles an hour. So, but we'll come to that. Okay, so let's just talk about Justin Trudeau. So Justin Trudeau took over in 2015, October 2015. He took the Liberal Party, at that time had been in the doldrums for about a decade. He took them from a bit of a political joke to an election-winning team. He won 3 elections. Don't forget, since he was elected Prime Minister, we've had David Cameron, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, and now we've got Keir Starmer. So you've had 6 prime ministers in the time that they've had one. He kind of ushered in this era that there was a little bit of hopefulness before the disasters of 2016, because he was quite famous for having a cabinet that was 50-50 split between women and men. Also, he brought in people from different ethnic backgrounds, ethnicities, First Nation people from Canada. We had this really great multicultural, multifaceted, multi-talented cabinet, which was a bit of the envy of the world. Because don't forget, at the time, our cabinet was just filled with dickheads from Eton, who were dickheads, inbred, posh dickheads who didn't have a fucking clue. But, you know, their daddy paid for them to go to Eton, so they're in charge. So Trudeau seemed like a breath of fresh air for a lot of us progressives back in 2015. But obviously, that all got swept away under the bitter tsunami of Brexit and then Trump's first administration. God, it pains me to call it the first administration. Jesus Christ. And my point in all this is going to be, at the end of all this, and remind me if I forget, is the right can get away with murder, whereas the left can't get away with shit. They can't get away with anything, whereas the right literally get away with murder. You can have someone representing the right murdering a British politician on the street, screaming Britain first, and there are no political consequences. You can have Partygate, where the rest of the country is locked down and can't be with their nan as she dies or go to her funeral, but Boris Johnson and his mates are busy partying in number 10. They're busy partying, having a party, having about 20 parties in number 10. The fallout for that, in terms of the polls, was less than the fallout for putting inheritance tax on farmers, which is going to affect about 500 people, of the richest people in the country. Actually, it won't affect them, they'll be dead. It will affect their children. It will affect the children of the richest 500 people in the country, probably. Anyway, the right get away with murder. Look at January the 6th, not yesterday, when there was a peaceful transition of power. Well, you know, the counting of the votes, whatever they do. But 4 years ago on that day, when 9 people died as a result of Trump's actions, he got away with it. He said he could shoot someone in the head on Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose a single vote. He's absolutely right, because the white power, the right can do whatever they like. And you see this time and time again, not just right-wing politicians, but don't forget, like, the right-wing evangelical pastors who go on about the problems of the world are all created by you heathens and homosexuals and drug takers and prostitutes, who's then found a few weeks later in a hotel room with a rent boy and a ton of ketamine and cheating on his wife. But the devil made him do it. They've always got an excuse, haven't they? The liberals made me do it. The devil made me do it. We've got to do it. I move in mysterious ways. You know, people are primed for this. This is one of the things that annoys me about religion. People are primed for people being shit by the fact that the Old Testament God of the Jesus people, what they call the Christians. No offense to the Christians out there watching this, but, like, seriously, he's horrible. He's horrible. The Old Testament God is horrible. Actually, the New Testament God's pretty horrible as well. Hey, these humans aren't doing what I want them to do. Well, what should I do? I know, I'll send my son there to be tortured and murdered horribly nail him to a tree. That'll learn him. And then everyone will be nice. Forever. Quite. Meanwhile, the left have to be purer than pure. I don't like the term whiter than white, because obviously that's got racial connotations. They have to be purer than pure. They can't get anything wrong. Or like I said, the inheritance tax on 500 of the richest landowners in the country has affected Keir Starmer in the polls more than Partygate affected Boris Johnson. Anyway, yes, murder. Anyway, in December of 2017, just to prove this point, Trudeau was found guilty of violating conflict of interest rules by accepting a vacation by a guy called Aga Khan to his private island. You know, that deemed him like a bad person that he went to a private island. Was it a private pedo island where there's were incidents of child sexual assault that were recorded, and people went to jail for it. Epstein went to jail for it. His wife, Ghislaine Maxwell, went to jail for it. Proven, factual. The trafficking of children, the sexual trafficking of children, Trump went to that island on numerous occasions. Elon Musk liked hanging out with the most notorious paedophile in American history, because that's what Jeffrey Epstein is. The most notorious paedophile in American history. Bezzy mates with Elon Musk, who is now going, oh, we need an inquiry into sex gangs in the UK. And you're like, we've already had an inquiry. It's the results were published in 2022, you absolute monumental dickhead. Anyway, enraging. Sarah says, hate living with chronic mental health illness. Woke up this morning and my depression is hitting me in the face like a brick. Oh, Sarah, I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here in general. I'm glad that you're here with us, okay? So I'm sorry that the news isn't better. It's just the nature of the news, isn't it? Let's just get back to travel. Can we talk about travel? Travel is so much fun. I've got this book here, right, that you got for Christmas, which is called Lonely Planets, Wonders of the World. And it's all pictures of all, like, these really cool places. Maybe not that place, it's Temple Mount in Jerusalem. But, there's, that looks like the, where is this? It's the inside of a mosque, isn't it? What's that? This is Jahan Square. In Iran. That's in Iran. That's go to Iran. It's lovely. Oh no, you can't. Global politics. Tree Bridge. Where do we want to go? Let's. Oh, look at that. Look, there's a guy there. He's just. This is what I want to do. I mean, not necessarily dress up like that. That'll be cultural appropriation. But I just want to get out there and see the world, and see the wonders of the world. Sick of talking about politics. Anyway, let's talk about politics. Trudeau got into loads of trouble for going to an island on holiday, accepting free vacations from a friend, which is obviously completely out of order, unless you're a right-wing politician, and then you can just take any gifts off a friend. In fact, you can get your friend to facilitate an £800,000 loan and then appoint him as chairman of the BBC. That happened. Was it Director General? I don't know. Anyway, so in 2019, there was this thing called the SNC Lavalin scandal. I thought Lavalin was the stuff you get from, shearing sheep. Sheep if you're shearing. Fuck off, mate, get your own. It's an Aussie joke. No, that's Lavalin. Okay, the SNC Lavalin scandal, which with allegations of pressuring the Attorney General to intervene in a corruption case. This led to cabinet resignations. But he still won the election after it. He still won the election. Like, there was an election, he still. But it was reduced to a minority government in 2019, in October. And so they were reliant on other parties being part of their coalition, which is a good thing, I think, because it means there's more discussion about what gets done and more views put on the table. However, one of Trudeau's promised things that he was going to do was bring in electoral reform into Canada, and he never got around to doing that. In fact, in his speech yesterday, when he was taking questions, that's what his biggest regret was, and he went, I didn't bring in electoral reform. Should have really done that. Never mind. So the Liberal Party won in 2019, and then we had Finance Minister resigning, a guy called Bill Morneau, resigned over disagreements over pandemic spending. And then there was a snap election in 2021, aiming for a majority, but the results in another minority government. But then, coalition, they trundled on. And then they were given a significant defeat in a Toronto by-election last year, which should have been a safe seat for the Liberal Party, and it went. And then I think the final, the one of the last nails in the coffin was Trump being re-elected and threatening tariffs, 25% tariffs on everything coming from Canada, because Trump goes, oh, but they buy this stuff off us and they don't buy enough stuff and they sell all this stuff to us and when we buy all that stuff, and it's like, he doesn't seem to understand that the population of America is 330 million and the population of Canada is 40 million or something. It's tiny. It's tiny in comparison. But he doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand big figures. He doesn't understand much because he's a fucking idiot. But, So he's promising economic devastation to Canada, its closest neighbour, and also talking about Canada becoming the 51st state of America and needling Trudeau unnecessarily, calling him derogatorily calling him the governor of California. But that's okay, Trump, because we can just call you the fucking little hand puppet with the hand up your arse, which is of Elon Musk. Well, actually, no, it's kind of like Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin fighting over who can have the hand up your arse on each particular day. Anyway, moving on. So on December 16th this year, Chrystia Freeland resigned, and she was the finance minister. She was very close to Trudeau, and then the writing was on the wall. It looked like, he was going to face a crisis of confidence motion, as I like to call it, where they get rid of the leader. So he has jumped the bullet. No, is that the right term? Jump the bullet? No, he didn't jump the bullet because he's taken the bullet, hasn't he? He's shot himself rather than be shot. He's taken himself out. He's committed Harry. He's done a bit of one of them. Anyway, moving on. Trump, let me buy you Canada. Yeah, indeed. Savak says it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, more discussion, but on the other hand, ample opportunity for politicking and other shenanigans. Yeah, I know. And this is something that worries me a little bit when we talk about political reform and the idea that every election would yield a coalition of parties. It's just in my experience when people talk about set up a group, whenever I've set up a group, just my experience, just my personal experience of groups of, people, nothing ever gets done. Nothing. I'm a very proactive person. Give me a little thing to do. I'll go and do it. Tell me what it is. It could be something really, really trivial, like solve this Rubik's Cube, or it could be, Graham, go to every country in the world without flying. If you give me a task, I'll be like, yep, I've got the task, I'll go and do it, blah, 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 and I'll go and do it. As long as I don't have to ask anyone's permission. As soon as I start having to ask people's permission in order to do the thing that I want to do, and I hit a stumbling block. So I'm not telling you that you have to subscribe to this channel, but I've just started a new channel. Well, it's been around for a while, but I've actually started putting stuff on it called Graham Hughes Presents, and it's going to have a load of my short films and music videos and little daft little documentaries and things like that I made before I went traveling in 2009. So it's sort of 1999 to 2009. And nearly everything in there is made on a zero fucking budget, like £100 budget maximum. Most of them were made on the budget of a Mars bar. And I was just allowed to do whatever I wanted, and I could achieve pretty cool shit. Not amazing. I'm not going to say it's the best thing you'll ever see, but it's pretty good for a music video or for an actor's show reel or whatever. But as soon as I started getting to the point where to do anything creative, I needed a budget to do it, it just all fell apart because no one wants to pay. Nobody wants to pay you to make the shit that you want to make. So you've got two choices. You can either make it for nothing, which is what I always did, or if your daddy's rich, he can pay for you to do your mad shit. And that gets you to the next level, which allows you to go professional. But if you don't have that in the middle, then you're never going to get there. Anyway, so subscribe to Graham Hughes Presents. There's going to be loads of videos going on there over the next few weeks because I need to upload videos in HD at least, upgraded from SD, so they don't look that good, but they look passable. You get the idea. Right, anyway, moving on. Sfax says, watch them on your phone. Watch them on your phone. Don't watch them on a big 4K widescreen TV. That's all I can say. If nothing ever gets done in Denmark, Sweden, Germany, Spain, etc., Spain adopted good LGBT legislation with coalition government. Yeah, I agree. I mean, stuff does get done. It's just that politicking can occur when you have a coalition government. And also, don't forget, you have a minority. Say you've got a big party and one party's got 50 seats and the other's got 1 seat, and you need that 1 seat in order to pass any rules. That party with 1 seat has a disproportionate amount of power over the government, over the country. They've only got one elected representative, but that is the crucial one, so they can just ask whatever they want. But then again, in the US, nothing gets done, and they have a system where no one's in charge. It's just there you go. Okay. As WWF, Linda McMahon, who's now going to be part of the Trump administration, made groomed kids sign NDAs. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the super chat there, Christopher Bowles. Maddening, absolutely maddening. So, is this the end of progressive politics? Is Starmer the last progressive politician standing? And I know some of you out there going, "Fuck off, Graham! He's not even a progressive. He's a bastard. He's a Tory. He's a anti-Tory." Okay, he's not the Tories. All right. If he was the Tories, he would have joined the Tories and been in charge of the country for more time than you can get if you go left wing. He wouldn't have worked as a human rights lawyer. He wouldn't have taken on pro bono cases for people like the McDonald's too. He wouldn't, the McLibel case. He wouldn't have gone around the world getting countries to abolish the death penalty, saving hundreds, possibly thousands of lives around the world by telling them that death penalty is not a great thing to have. It doesn't work. Hey Graham, how any updates on the How We Fix Britain series? Yeah, Cluster Bungle. I was going to do it on Friday, but events, my dear, events. The Friday on Sunday. I was going to talk to Gareth T, about prison reform and what needs to be done. But unfortunately, it snowed. That's like the excuse for that. And we were like, oh, it's going to snow. And this is going to have to snow for one day. The last time it snowed, I was away in Panama. The time before then, I was away delivering Christmas presents to kids in Ukraine. I know, terrible. So I missed the snow here. So I'm like, gotta spend the day with the kids, making snowmen, making snow ladies, throwing snowballs, sledging down a hill. So as a result, I didn't get to do the prep that I needed to do in order to sort that out with Gareth. But I would like to do that. So maybe on Sunday instead of a quiz, because I'm running out of books, we might revert to the How We Fix Britain series, because it is a good series and I do enjoy making it. So thanks for that, Cluster Bungle. In fact, I'll make a note. How we fix. Right, okay, so I'm going to go over to the papers now. Well, actually, I'm going to read a few things. So Starmer has a majority to remove puberty blockers. Yeah, I know, it's just madness. That is the most infuriating thing about the current Labour government. They're like, can we have electoral reform? No time for that. We've got to fix the economy. Okay, can we rejoin the EU? No time for that. We've got to fix the economy. Okay, can we? No time for that. We've got to fix the economy. Okay, but you've got time to ban puberty blockers. Yeah. Okay. Walk me through this. How have we got parliamentary time to waste banning a provenly safe medical procedure, medication for children, teens, who don't want to grow breasts? Because what you're doing there is you're making it so if you're a trans boy, you're a trans teenage boy, and you want puberty blockers to stop you growing breasts, that's probably a good thing. Because if you do grow breasts, I don't want to go into this too much, you'll require top surgery, which is surgery. And also, can we just point out at this point why, you've got Wes Streeting, who's gay, and, I'm not saying he's representative of all gay people everywhere. Of course he isn't. And it's not like gay people are all a hive mind. It's like Latino voters or Russian voters or black voters are not a hive mind. There's differing opinions amongst any class in society, any group of people in society. You've got differing opinions. However, he must know the story of Alan Turing, right? He must know that story. He must know that Alan Turing was forced to take estrogen to temper down his testosterone, which was causing his gayness, apparently, because that's the way things worked in the 1950s. And so they gave him estrogen, which made him grow breasts, and he killed himself. And now they're doing that same thing to innocent children. Trans boys, trans men don't get acknowledged at all. Like, whenever J.K. Rowling or any of these horrible little transphobes, trans obsessives, start going on about stuff, they're always talking about trans women. Have you noticed that? They never talk about trans men. It's like trans men don't exist. There's more trans men than trans women. Do you know why? Because when kids are a baby, sometimes the gender isn't obvious, and they have a little operation to make them a girl, because it's easier than making them a boy. So you have a lot more kids who are, mentally male, but are raised female. And then they get to a certain age and are like, I don't feel right in this body. Understandably. But yeah, really, really, really infuriating. But once again, it just goes to show that for the Tories, banning puberty blockers is like Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? But for Labour, it's a big thing. And it's costing them a lot of support amongst Labour supporters, progressives across the board. I mean, you could argue that there's people who were never going to vote Labour ever again, who don't like Starmer anyway, who might just jump on this bandwagon, if you want to call it that, and say, oh, this is a bad thing they've done. But at the same time, there's real people who I know, who I'm friends with, who are trans, and voted for Labour in this last election and feel incredibly let down. Campaigned for Labour and feel incredibly let down by this punitive measure against puberty blockers that no one can adequately explain to me why they're doing it. Jake, Wes Streeting, shiny face creepy, he was in Parliament and he couldn't explain it. He was just like, oh, well, there's a report that it might be dangerous. Well, why isn't it dangerous for cisgender kids then? Why can you still prescribe it for cisgender kids? Yeah, well, we need more research into this. No, you don't. It's been around for years. It's prescribed in other countries. It's prescribed in other countries. Why can't it be prescribed in our country? The kids aren't dying. They're just delaying their puberty. They stop taking it and they enter puberty. But it gives them a bit of time to think about their options. Do you not want to do that? No. No, we want them to force them to have top surgery. We want to force them to get hairy if they're a trans girl, and have to take more medications further down the line. We've got to make it so it's going to cost the NHS more by doing nothing when the kids are 12, 13 years old. We've got to down the road. It's going to cost more. It's going to be more traumatic for the kids involved. It's going to be more traumatic for the families involved. I mean, fuck off, politicians. Politicians should never come, I don't think, but between a doctor and their patients. Doctors swear a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. And I trust them on that. I do, right? And I agree that people should be able to get a second opinion. I think Martha's Law is a fantastic initiative, which secures that in the British system. It's not a law yet, but it's an option in many hospitals to get a second opinion, and that's fine. But get a second opinion from a fucking doctor, from a medical professional, not from a politician. What's this politician doing in here? You go and see your GP, and you have a politician sitting in the corner making sure that you get the right medication. Fuck off. Anyway, sorry, we're supposed to be talking about Justin Trudeau. You wonderful people. I love the people who watch this because you like putting me off on little tangents. It's in a completely different direction to what I wanted to talk about. And now we're out of time. Well, we're not out of time. Should we go over to the papers? Should we see what the papers say? Do you care? Do you care what the papers say? I don't care. But let's watch them anyway. Read them. Watch them. Read them. I don't know what's happening anymore. Tomorrow's papers today. This is a great little website because it doesn't have the sun on it. Yay, because we don't like the sun because it sucks. Right, anyway, so Justin Trudeau there. Fighting back the tears. Holding back the ears. For the friends of rathergood.com back in the day. Europe turns on Musk over attempts to sway voters, is the front cover on the Times. Starmer and Macron unite against interference. Indeed. And then Starmer blasts Musk. Outrage at billionaires grooming gang smears. PM warns far-right lies putting people in danger. So, reading that, you'll think, okay, so maybe the newspapers are onto this. Maybe the newspapers understand how dangerous it is to have foreign ketamine-fueled clowns like Elon Musk, Space Karen, Sissy SpaceX, going out and out for saying that politicians should be locked up and how dangerous that is. Let's move on. Here we go. Starmer's far-right smear on grooming gang critics. So this is the fucking Mail. This is how shit the Mail is. So they're saying, Fury, as PM suggests, those calling for inquiry into scandal are jumping on a far-right bandwagon. So the smear isn't against Jess Phillips. The smear isn't against Keir Starmer saying that he didn't do anything about child grooming gangs when he absolutely fucking well did. The smear is Starmer. Starmer's doing the smear. This is the people, the dickheads, the fucking brain-addled dickheads, full of lead paint, full of lead fucking fumes, lead whatever, lead makeup. Reading the Daily Mail, they'll read that and they'll go, oh, smears, yes, the smears weren't that foreign billionaire casting aspersions over our MPs and putting their lives in danger. No. The actual smear is Keir Starmer saying these people are far right and they're jumping on a bandwagon when they don't actually care about children, which is true. They don't actually care about children because don't forget, Elon Musk Bezzy mates with Jeffrey Epstein, America's most notorious paedophile. Bezzy mates. Pictures of them together. Just like Donald Trump. You see, the thing is, the right can get away with anything. They really can. They really can. Anyway, moving on. PM condemns Musk for lies and misinformation on abuse cases. It's a better headline from the Guardian there. Demi Moore looking amazing there. The triumphant return of Demi Moore. If you haven't seen The Substance, then I can't recommend it because it's the most fucked up movie I've ever seen, and I'm particularly squeamish about body horror. But it's fantastic. It's so good. It's such a good movie. It's one of those movies that splits opinions. Some people will watch it and go, what a load of shite. And other people watch it and go, this is fucking amazing. The closest thing I can think of, and it's a completely different genre, but Starship Troopers. And the reason why I say that is because it split the audience in exactly the same way. If you got the joke, if you got the satire of it all, you were like, oh my God, this is amazing. If you didn't and just saw it as a straightforward film about, aliens invading or a woman who doesn't want to grow old, you just didn't get it. You'll hate it. You'll be like, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. So yeah, when satire is done very, very well, it can be quite divisive. But I thought it was really good. Anyway, she won the Golden Globe, which I agree with. I think she's great in a lot of things. Anyways, Trudeau to step down as Canada's Prime Minister after a decade in power. Oh yeah, no, we talked about that. Okay, Starmer out of touch on rape gangs. So this is the Express, hand in hand with the Mail, the two scumbag newspapers. Even got Esther McVeigh on the front cover, whinging about violence. This is on the front cover of a newspaper that encourages violence all the time. Sir Keir Starmer was last night slammed for being out of touch with the public after smearing politicians demanding a national inquiry into rape gangs. We've had an inquiry. We have had an inquiry. Can you go and tell anyone you know who reads this shit and believes it that we've had an inquiry? They put 20 recommendations on the desk of Kemi fucking Badenoch in 2022 and she picked it up and she threw it in the fucking bin because she doesn't give a shit about children being abused. She doesn't give a shit about anyone but herself because, she's one of them, isn't she? She's one of those privately educated people. They don't care about anyone but themselves. That's what they're taught in their private schools, I think. I don't know. They don't all seem to be self-obsessed, but they all seem to be a little bit self-obsessed. And the Star's got a story about people getting trapped in the pub. Starmer calls for grooming probe are far right. Yes, they are. But the Telegraph there trying to be diplomatic about it, but continuing the smears of the Express and the Mail. God, this is infuriating. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm trying to cheer you up here, and it's not working, is it? Jesus Christ! New private school fee hikes in September. Parents warned. Third fee increase in a year for some pupils. Good. If they're too expensive, knock them down. Build a homeless shelter. NHS will send extra 2.5 million patients to private hospitals in urgent attempt to cut waiting lists. So this is the plan to cut the waiting lists by basically using the facilities of private healthcare providers and paying for it through the NHS. I don't like this, but I agree. I don't like it, but if I was in charge of the NHS right now, at the stage that we're at, with what the Tories have done to it, this is what I'll do. I'll come back to that in a moment when I grow myself big again. But first of all, X Factor spat. It's Starmer. NHS reset overshadowed by Musk row. PM slams lies as he rules out inquiry into child sex grooming gangs. And the exact same picture on the front cover of the Metro and the Financial Times there. Trudeau quits as poor ratings and strife in his party take the toll. They do indeed. Hang on. I'm going to just go to the big screen again. All right. Sorry, my mouse isn't working. Why aren't you working, mouse? Oh, there it goes. You have to press the button. Right. Has anyone dropped a super chat in? No, they haven't. Good. Okay. I don't mean good. I mean, I didn't miss it. That would have been bad. Where's took advice from J.K. Rowling? Yeah, another famous physician, someone who's famous for their deeds in the operating theatre. Actually, just with J.K. Rowling, really made her name in the world. She was the first person to actually transplant somebody's brain. It was her own, and she took her brain out and she replaced it with a brain, very, very small, shriveled, weird little brain, and and that's what happened. Heritage Foundation isn't just about influencing America; they're trying to seep through similar essentialist attitudes here. Absolutely. So just onto the NHS, right? I don't want more creeping privatization in the NHS. I understand that. But at the same time, we've had 14 years of Tory fucking chaos of a bunch of posh dickheads not being able to run a fucking bath, never mind a country. And we have 2-year waiting lists. And I know people who are in pain, suffering right now, having to wait 2 years for their operations. Okay? I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. It's not my fault. I didn't elect these knobheads into power, the Tories. But you know, it is you shit with the arse you've got, I guess. And so as a result, if this is the way that they've decided would be the best way to take down the waiting list, then do it. If I was in chronic pain and I was offered the chance to go private, and I knew that the taxpayer would be paying for it, I would take that. I wouldn't sit there being tortured by my own body for 2 years to make a political point. And I'm sorry, you might think that's really shallow, and I should, literally be tortured for 2 years every time I move. But at the end of the day, I think most people think like me. I just no, fuck it. I just want the treatment. And I'm just hoping that the price of that isn't going to be a further push towards privatization, because we can see it in America, where they have the worst outcomes for medicine in the developed world. In the G20, the worst outcomes they have, decreasing longevity, increased infant mortality. They have a chronic crisis, an opioid epidemic. They have a mental health crisis. We have one too, but theirs is worse. Mix in more guns than people, and you've got America. Oh yeah, and private healthcare that doesn't want to insure anyone, that gets AI, a little helpful robot that gets everything wrong, to say no to everyone for when they ask for stuff. Reagan Elite says, love Starship Troopers. It's really good. It's a good film. It's very good. It's very good. It's afraid. You go, Doogie Howser. Heritage Foundation, I've read that one. Christopher Bowl says, Andrew Lancy contracted out the resources the NHS has. You can't reduce waiting lists today if you're going to wait for renationalisation. Christopher, that's my attitude. It's got to be done immediately, as soon as possible, for so many people who are in chronic pain. There's people who, if we don't treat them soon, their illness will get worse, and down the line it'll cost the NHS more. And this is something that I always... politicians drive me up the fucking wall, because they don't seem to get the basics that prevention is the best cure. The fact that we're not pushed more into healthy lifestyles by giving subsidies to fresh fruit and veg. I think that there should be, you get a weekly voucher on your phone, right? And you go to the supermarket to do your weekly shop, and you get a free bag of fruit and veg. That's it. Everyone goes in, they get a free bag of fruit and veg for free, and it's subsidized by the taxpayer, and that's how it works. Instead of this, we're going to put a tax on sugar, so we're going to make the food that people, who haven't got much money can just about afford, the junk food that they can afford, because junk food is cheaper than, homemade cooking. When you see what's his name, the fat tongue dickhead, the Jamie Oliver, when he went to America to try and do the school dinners thing over there, it just didn't work, because they can't get the ingredients cheap enough. They can get the cheap ingredients cheap enough for the budgets that they have. But what he was trying to do is, we should make everything fresh every day. And they're like, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the resources. We don't have the people. We don't have the staff. We don't sit around peeling potatoes when we can just buy a pack of already cut potatoes that we just put in the oven, potato chips that we just put in the oven. We don't have the time to do this. No one's paying us. We're on minimum wage, Jamie, you dickhead. And this is a problem. I mean, if you put the prices of the food that people can afford up, then you're just making it more expensive for people to eat. So they still eat junk food, they just eat slightly less of it, but then they eat less food overall, which isn't good for their nutrition. And it's one of the reasons why 5-year-olds now in the UK are short than they used to be compared with other countries, because a lot of them are malnutritioned. I mean, there's 2 million children living in poverty in this country, for Christ's sake. Abject. It's just... So, fresh fruit and veg. Gyms are really, really expensive. I looked up here in Durham. It's like £26 a month. Who can afford £26 a month? Jesus Christ. That's so much money. What's that? That's like, I mean... that's like £300 a year. I mean, almost. It's like, what? I don't have I don't have £300 just lying around. Oh, just go to the gym. And also, you got to get to the gym and get back, which costs money because you got to get the bus, and the cap on the bus costs has gone up now to £3 in this area. So all the prices have gone up to £3 thanks to that Labour. Give people, when they go into the doctors and say, I feel like I'm overweight, and they check them out and say, yes, you are overweight. Here you go. Here's a year's subscription to the gym. Off you go. Go to the gym. Oh, it's free. Go. No. Oh, no, actually, no, you wouldn't do it as a year free subscription because people won't use it. You have a use it or lose it policy that you get to go to the gym free, but you have to attend twice a month to continue getting that free service. That's how you do it. Get people into a routine. Routines are good for people like me who suffer from executive dysfunction disorder. Acroday says, any attempt to improve health, eating habits is condemned as the nanny state by the usual suspects, i.e. cutting into the profits of the food industry. Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely, mate. And it's just infuriating. There was one of those free outdoor gym things in the park near me. It's been replaced with some crap monkey bars. Yeah. Cancelled gym and pool here is £29 a month. I mean, okay, if you got the money, yeah, fucking pay for it. But, you know, if you're on benefits, if you're struggling, if you got kids and you're having to pay for them because kids cost a fucking fortune these days, fucking make it free. Make it free. I mean, make people proactively, want to do it. You can't just put a voucher through everyone's door to go to the gym for free. But, the things are there to encourage people to live a bit more healthily. It's just that there's obstacles in the way as well, which are the fact that the cost of living is so high. Most people are just working all the time. When they're not working, they're fucking exhausted. So yes, they're going to veg out watching Netflix because they don't have the energy to go to the fucking gym and then, run a 5-mile bloody jog on the treadmill or whatever they do. Yeah, I would go to the gym. I would go to the gym if it was free. I would. I'm 45. I need to start looking after my health. Although I am a little bit worried that both Douglas Adams and John Hughes both died jogging in the morning. So just top tip, if you do go to a gym and you're over the age of 40, don't do it in the morning because your body hasn't woken up yet. Your brain might have woken up just about. I mean, you watch these shows in the morning, my brain doesn't normally wake up till about 12:30. But, your organs are still in fucking hypersleep, dormant state, hibernation. And so you put a lot of strain on your heart that early in the morning. It can fuck you up, which is what happened with Douglas Adams and with John Hughes, the film director. Anyway, so just saying, don't run in the morning. Billy Kershaw, Children's Fund paid for free passes for kids to use local swimming pool. Yeah, that's absolutely. Anne Phillips, I only went to the doctors because he moaned I was too fat, but when I wasn't too fat, he moaned because men might be interested in me. And that's really shit. I mean, you're talking in the past tense, so I'm hoping that you left that guy. Graham, I love and appreciate your chance of answer, but do you please pay a bit more attention to the chat, says Snowy Cat. Yes. Oh, I just got a super chat. There you go. That makes me pay attention. Now I'm broken up. Questionable absentee. I shouldn't have been talking now. I'm 40 minutes over time. You get an extra 14 minutes of this. Of me ranting. I'll see your substance and raise you. Crimes of the Future for great movies that are not for the squeamish. Lee Sejdu and Viggo Mortensen. Ooh, I love a bit of Viggo Mortensen. He's very good in Eastern Promises and that fantasy film. What was it called? Guardians of the Throne of the Rings or something. I can't remember. Anyway, he was good in that. But whoever he played, Gandalf? Was he Gandalf? I'm joking. Don't. But yes, I need to appreciate the chat more. Sorry, Snowy. Do your job better, Graham. Anyway, right. So on that bombshell. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the illuminating chat. I tried to read as many as I can. Can't read all of them. It'll just be me just doing this, reading the chat all the way through. No one wants to watch that. But I'll be back tonight for the first Geoscope of the year with Ollie Ball Hat Man at 7:30. So you can watch that, and then you can miraculously flick across to Maximilian's channel. So if you want to join the Graham Hughes Presents channel, there's only a few videos on there at the moment, but if you want to join that, that'd be great. You don't have to. You don't have to. Give us a like on the way out, though. You do have to do that, or I'll hunt you down. No. I won't do that. What did you commit this terrible crime for, Graham? Well, they didn't give me a like. Sorry, what? Well, they watched my video. They watched the whole thing. I went on and on for about 45 minutes, and they didn't like my video. Bastards. So give me a like or else. And until this evening, when I see you again, or maybe tomorrow at 9:30. And don't forget, we've got PMQs tomorrow as well, which should be very exciting. I will say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.